So now, for first thing is the financial measure. So these are only sample processes, but these are only the measure. The indicators are different. The indicators can be different indicators that I will be also showing you, and I will be giving you a complete document file which has all the indicators. I will maybe open that file also together so that you can see it. Okay. So the financial measure is, as you can see, mostly our revenue growth, how much percentage I'm going to increase the revenue, where which segment I'm going to increase the revenue. Is going to be room revenue or F&B revenue. Will I increase my occupied room nights or will I increase my average rate? So you can further divide the revenue growth into different sectors. Will I increase my online business? Will I increase my offline business? Or I will be focusing on the groups. So these are the different indicators, because based on your strategy again. It depends on the strategy, because revenue growth is a very broad strategy, right? But the exactly what indicators are you going to use, that depends on how you break down the strategy into the different smaller parts. You're going to increase your revenue by increasing your room nights. You're going to increase your revenue by increasing the rates. You are going to focus on the groups. You're going to focus on the individual. You are going to focus on your online business. You are going to focus on travel agents. How you are going to increase your revenue, correct? And then the productivity, reduce the cost. So where? Again, labor cost, are you going to reduce labor cost, or are you going to reduce the operation cost? Are you going to automate the process so that you can reduce the waste? Are you going to reduce the food cost? So what cost are you going to reduce? So the performance measures will depend on your exact strategy. And then you're going to have financial risk management, means AR. So normally we measure what is the AR aging. How many percent of my outstanding is more than 30 days? Who are here from finance? Or you are from finance. So you measure the AP AR aging, right? How many days outstanding is there for more than 30 days? How many how many AP is outstanding? How many customers we have to pay, correct? So these are the financial risk. And what is mean by AR? Account receivable. Account receivable. And AP means account payable. So the person money you need to collect is AR. The money you need to pay is your AP. So that's these are the performance measures. Now the indicators can be different things. Revenue, percentage of increase, AR as a percentage to the sales, how many credit sale you are doing. So you may be focusing on the cash sale more than the credit sale, because if you do a lot of cash sale or credit sale, your risk of not collecting the money is higher also. And you may have a performance KPI that how many percent is not able to collect. That's another one. Right? Not only the how many is the outstanding over 30 days, how much is actually you are not able to collect in a year. So normally we have a set percentage. We allow, okay, maybe only 1% of the total outstanding we allow as not collectible. Because sometimes people, they don't want to pay money, right? They use the services, but they are not paying money for different reasons. Maybe they are bankrupt already, they are making losses or whatever. There can be 10,000 reasons. So once we open the Excel file, then you will see the different kind of KPIs for different indicator names. Those are indicator names. Those are not KPI, the indicator names. Okay. And then you, for the customer, you have operational excellence, means the lowest price. How are you going to give the best price to your customer? How much selection you are giving? How much convenience you are giving? Convenience means how fast the service is, right? How much time you take to deliver the product, and what is the how many defects you accept in the customer? How much is the return ratio? How many times your customer is returning your product? For hotels, you cannot return the product, but you can make complaints, right? Yeah. You can make complaints. Ah, I'm not happy with the room. Oh, I'm not happy with the AC. I'm not happy with the food service. I'm not happy with the breakfast selection. So those are the customer perspective. So this is how in the hotel we measure the customer perspective of these qualitative zero defects in different manners. It's not only for product is yes, okay, you can return the product, but for hotels, for service, you can return it. You can only complain. So those complaints in different in the hotels, how what is their priority. But most of the international hotel chains, they are very serious about the complaints, right? They want to understand there should not be any complaints, but you cannot avoid complaints. So they have another measure: how many of the complaints are satisfactorily handled. Correct. First thing is the defect. How many complaints out of 10,000 guests? And then the second tier is how many of those complaints are actually handled effectively. Means normally when you are asking the guest, you are in your survey, you are asking, okay, did you face any problem? Yes, I face a problem. Okay, so that's already first thing. Okay, if you face a problem, was there anybody to solve the problem? Yes, there was a problem. Okay, was the problem solved satisfactorily or not? So if you have a high score in satisfying the problem, then you are okay. Then you just need to focus that there should be less problems. But if you have less problems, but you have a less ratio of satisfaction also. So what you should be focusing next? You should be focusing on to improve the satisfaction ratio, right? How they should be handled. So this is how the KPI helps to achieve your strategy action plans. Correct. And then you have a product leadership measure. So how many products you are launching this year? How many? What are the? How many? How fast it is you are launching the product? And how many? Because to launch the product leadership, it means that also how your product are better than the others. So how you gonna measure that? By number of sales probably, or maybe number of sales in the first week. So means that if your product is not sold in the first week, means not a lot, then it means you are not able to entice the customer to buy it first launch. Like sometime in the movie, you might see the normally there are KPIs, how much they collect within the first 7 days. Right? There are sometime in the movies when they launch in the Hollywood, they say, okay, the collection on the first day all over the world is 1 billion already. So it's a very good movie. So that's their KPI. So it means that they are launching the movie, so they create the hype nowadays about the movie. Why they are showing the trailers? They are showing the trailer so that you watch it in the first week itself. But that's not the KPI is not because they want to achieve a highest revenue. Anybody can tell me why they want to do it like this? Any wild idea? Why they are focusing on the first week itself? You all are doing it, but you don't know about it. Have you ever watched the movie by fake CD? You all right? You buy the CD from the Yangon street and buy the movie there on your laptop. You do right there, right? There is a bigger problem in the industry. You can buy the CD off the road, correct? In one day, in after the movie is launched, the next day is already available on the internet. The second next day it's available on the streets. Correct? So means the company is losing the revenue. The third day onwards, the sale will go down. Because if the movie is available on the street, why you need to go to the cinema and pay the money unnecessary? You can watch it for free. I never watched I hardly watch movie on the cinema. I just wait for a few days, no mind. 1 week later is okay. I can watch on the online, daily motion.
You started.
Huh?
You started.
Yeah, no, I did not start it. I follow. I follow the trend. So that's why they make a KPI to counter this piracy. Okay, I need to collect the first thing within the first week. The most I collect is the successful movie it is. But the actual reason is not about the success, is about to counter the piracy problem. Because the moment you are able to collect within the first week all your collections, then your cost is already gone. Then whatever comes next is your profit, right? So that's how that's the strategy. It's not about they want to be the successful, they want to see the successfulness by highest revenue. It's because there is a piracy problem. So it says their strategy to make it the successful in the first week itself, so that the piracy doesn't affect them. Correct. So now what is the for the hotels? You might have seen the flash sales. You have booked Air Asia. Have you ever fly with the Air Asia? No. They provide the cheapest tickets. But if you buy them 1 year in advance, because if you buy now for the next day, you will not find the cheap tickets. But if you buy them 1 year in advance, means for the next year travel, you are highly likely you will get maybe 50% discount, 70% discount, 80% discount. They even used to sell $1 ticket, just $1. But there's a deception because the $1 is only for ticket. Then they will charge for airport tax, they will charge for fuel tax, which you don't know, which they never which they never advise. $1 exclusive of the airport tax and tax and fuel charges. When you actually book the ticket, this becomes $100 already. But that's their marketing technique. But the point is not the marketing technique. Point is they are selling the ticket for next year now. But so they are actually gaining the financial returns still. They are collecting the cash. So but they need to fly the airplane only next year. But they are collecting the money today. They are using that money for buying new planes. So that's their strategy. So the success of this leadership, the product launch is based on how many tickets they are selling. They are able to sell in advance. So usually you wait for the Air Asia promotions. You keep a watch. You continue to go to their website. So it increase their brand value also because you know Air Asia now already. So it's marketing expenses. So instead of spending on advertising, what they are doing is they are selling you and they are asking you to advertise for yours, like brand, like on the word of mouth, right? Then you will sell everybody of your friend also. Oh, book Air Asia, it's cheap, very cheap. I also used to fly with Air Asia, but it's very small plane. I am not bad mouthing anything. Huh? Okay, then you have measures for customer intimacy. So that one we also know. So some of the satisfaction, the ratio is like customer loyalty, how many times the customer visit in your property, how many customer complaints you get, how much is the marketing cost as a percentage of sales, what is the return ratio, how many proposals you are sending, how much is the price response rate. So like in the first slide, we discussed about the airlines when the customer is calling the people and they are not responding. So what is your response rate? Now every hotel has a response rate, right? For every division, they have a response rate. So how much if let's say for reservation is okay. You call the hotel, the phone need to be ring within three rings. Yeah. But if you send an email, then do you have any standard rate of how much you should be responding within how many hours you need to respond to the email? Right? But is it important? The thing is it important for you or not? It is important actually, because if the customer is sending an email to the hotel, they expect a response. If you are not responding, somebody else will. So you will lose a customer. So normally the hotel has usually a average response rate. Okay, if you send an email, your email will be acknowledged within 2 hours or within like sometimes they do auto responding. They immediately say, okay, sir, we are not, like, especially off the duty hours. Yeah. We are not available on the desk, but we will return whenever we are back, right? But if it's a working day, your email should be acknowledged within 2 hours, correct? Or let's say the sales, you email a sales inquiry. I expect within a few hours I should get a proposal if it's not very complicated. If it's a complicated, then you should get a call or for more details, asking for more details. So means you are responsive then. So are you going to wait? Are you going to deal with a company who respond your emails within few minutes or within days? Of course, within few minutes, right? Because it's fast, and it also reflects how serious they are about the business. If you don't get answer within like 10 days or so means you are not likely to do any business with them. But if you get an answer from an email within a few minutes, then you are likely to get conversion very fast. So that's the customer intimacy. How fast you are able to respond. That's one of the KPIs. So there is a whole list of customer indications. Then there is how many number of customers, how many, what is the frequency of the sales, how much one customer. So does your hotel has a repeat guest ratio? Yes. So what is the repeat guest ratio? How many times the customer come back within a year, right? So what is the ratio? How much percent it is?
It's not really high. It's
Not
like, it's Japan and like, for me, I believe it is 25 to 35.
Oh, 25 to 35 is very high. I think if you get 10% also is very, you are lucky. Because the repeat guest ratio is, especially, it depends on the type of the hotel. Okay, if it's a business hotel, huh? And depend on the rooms also. So if let's say you are a business hotel, then the business peoples are likely to return for their business. But if your focus is only tourists like European market who comes maybe once in their life, so you are not going to have a repeat guest because they will not come back again. But if you are focusing more on the business guests, they are more likely to come back. But it depends on your service. If you treat them well, they will come back. If you don't treat them well, they forget it. They will not come next time. Or if there is a new customer, just a new customer arrive in the market who is selling cheaper than you. So you may be, so if the guest is still choosing you, that becomes your loyalty value. How loyal your customer is. But if they don't come back because of the price, then they are not loyal to you anymore. So that your loyalty index is pretty low. That's why we know. That's why the hotel companies normally do a survey. How loyal are you to me? Same way you are doing a loyalty to your employees also. If somebody offer, have you ever received a survey? I don't know your companies are doing a survey or not about your employees. So if as the company have ever asked you if you get a better same salary, same package, will you leave us or not? If you get, and then another time they ask you is if you get slightly higher salary than us, are you going to leave or not? Right? Sometimes the companies answer because they want to understand are their employees happy or not. That's one way of asking. They will not ask you directly, are you happy with this or not? Everybody will say no because they want to get increase in salary. But they ask like this: if you get the same salary, same position, little bit higher salary, will you go? If you say yes, means you are not happy. If you say no, means you are very happy. But be careful, then they will not increase your salary also.
That's very true.
It's okay. Okay. So the other two measures are internal processes. So internal processes we measure by operations management and the customer. As I said, the internal process is everywhere. Customer, innovation, employees, internal processes, social, regulatory. So what are the measure for the internal processes? There are many, right? So average cost per transaction, average lead time, how many warranty claims you get means how effective is your production, right? And then you also get the research and development expenses. For innovation, how will you measure? How much money you are spending on research and development? How many products you are able to launch within the few months or within every 6 months or every 1 year? How many products you are able to launch? Correct. And then you are also doing mostly on the innovation is on the spending, or how many hours you are spending on the research, how many people you employ on the research and development. So who you think has the highest budget in research and development? Industry. Telecom, pharma, who? Any guess? Telecom, no. Telecom they don't do research mostly. I think it's mostly done by the pharma industries. They are developing not only the medicine, they are developing the disease also. That is controversial. Huh? Don't quote me. But you think why the medicines are coming? Because there are new viruses. So why the virus is coming? They are byproduct of something else. So the virus is also coming. Virus is produced by some companies. They are research and development. And the medicine is also research and development. So they are developing new medicines, new viruses also. So they spread the virus first and then they release the antidotes. Same company. Most like research and development. Then the Microsoft is sending you security patches. Who is sending the virus? Also the same company. Otherwise, who will buy their new product? Huh? Nobody will buy. Huh? Yeah. So there are so many antivirus companies, right? So Norton doesn't work with Symantec, but they are all part of the same industry. They release the virus first, and then they issue the virus. So they have, if you let's say they issue a virus because it's produced by them, so they are highly likely to detect it first and cure it first also, right? Because they already do the solution. So they will produce to the world, this virus already we detect. Only our software can handle it. So you are likely to change your antivirus to that company because that's the most successful. Then some new virus come and you're gonna change again, right? So that's how they do on the research. So research and development. This is a malpractice. I don't recommend to do this. Okay, but these are the research and so innovations. Mostly, I was talking about the innovations. Downtime, how much downtime you have. So this is part of the internal processes manufacturing. How many times you have a downtime? Like in hotels, how many times the laundry machine is down? Is an internal process, right? It affects your customer, correct? How many times the coffee machine is down? That's also, so there is an internal process means you need to clean the machine and you need to maintain whatever you need to do, right? But if it's not coming, then you have ERP, sorry, your PMS system that also is down sometimes. So to maintain the, but these are, is it the, do you think the system maintenance is important for customer?
Of course, not for them, for us.
For us, right? Because to be able to fast.
Yeah.
For customers, it doesn't matter to them. But for us to be able to check in within 2 minutes, we should be ready. So if the system is down, you need to have a backup. So if your backup is not ready, then you have an internal control failure, internal process failure. But if you are able to still check in the gas by manual things, then there's no really a failure of the internal processes because that's a part of internal process. Your process is not to maintain the system. Your process is to check in the gas within 2 minutes. If your system, so that's the contingency. If your system fail, what you gonna do next?
Just do the manual.
Just do the manual. So that's ready. So the KPI is how many, what is the average time of check-in from your guest. So how are you going to measure it? Difficult to measure, right? You cannot measure for each and every guest. But you can ask the customer, how was your check-in experience? Were you able to check in within 2 minutes? The customer will tell you. But not exactly, of course. Not everybody answered the question. But it will give you an indication. If you are too late, too many times, then you will know. Right? And sometimes it's observation. So you can have somebody observe, especially during the high occupancy. So the income auditors are there. Then you have third-party mystery shoppers. So why the companies are hiring third-party mystery shoppers? Because they want to check the internal processes. The mystery shopper will come to your hotel and check every aspect of your internal process. How much, what was the time check-in? So they note down the exact time of check-in, check-out, what was the time the bill was printed, what time they take the order, what time the order was delivered.
Yeah.
So if you see anybody with a stopwatch, be careful, right?
Yeah.
So that you can make sure that you pass the mystery shopping score.
So that you can read it.
No, is if the mystery shopper is immature, then you will easily spot it because he will look at the watch every time.
Yeah.
But if the mystery shopper is very experienced, then you cannot identify because they have their own processes. How to do it? They record everything on their phone. So after that, they watch the video again and then they will note down the exact time because they can see. Right. So it's all depend on the customer. What you want to measure. So there is a way of measuring everything. Okay. And then the employee learning. So what is the personal development? So how you measure the skills? How much training you have done? How much trained your staff is? Do you have any measure? Training plan. But training plan is only a plan.
Yeah, but you have to do it.
Quantify. How you quantify the training?
By test, or you check on the operation how they done for their responsibility.
It's not quantifiable. How many hours training you have done? That's right. Is it one of the measure? How many hours you have trained your staff per employee? So we used to have a target like this. Every department need to conduct 4 hours of training per person on an average. So means we have to make a training plan which complies with the minimum requirement. If I have 40 employees in my department, means 4-hour target means I have to conduct at least 160 hours worth of training. Every staff has to join it. Then only I will reach 4 hours, right, per employee. So means 160 minutes is about how many minutes? 3? Oh, sorry, 3 hours. So means if I conduct like this seminar and ask all of my employees to sit down together, that's the training. So that's my KPI. But what I'm going to teach in 3 hours, it has to be relevant also. So normally the companies say, okay, if finance, you need to train at least for finance and non-finance things also, on your ability, on your how to dress up, how is your personal branding. So these are also a part of training. So this is one way of quantifying the training. Then another way is how many times they make mistakes. Correct. So if you're not from income audit or you're not from finance, then you don't know that if every time you make a mistake, income audit records it. Every time you do a over or shortage in your hotel in your cash flow, you every time you report I'm lost $10. The income auditor knows about it. Income auditor make a summary. How many times this person has made a mistake, and they keep a record of this person, and then they check how many times training he has got done. So normally this record is sent to the general manager or to the HR. How many times these people are doing the mistakes? How many times they get the bad feedback in the customer feedback? So income auditor is recording that also. HR is recording that also. So every time they compile the record and say, okay, which are the employees who are not who got the training but they are doing the bad job, but they are mentioned. So then they know this is how they understand the effectiveness of training. Even though you may be doing a 4-hour training, 10-hour training, but still your staff is not able to do it, means the training is not effective. Correct? So that's one way of quantifying the qualitative aspects. Correct? So there are different, every as I said, every aspect can be quantified, one way or the another way. It's just how you need to understand how are they going to be measured. What is the effect? Right? Okay? And then you have the organizational employee satisfaction. So you might have, are you doing employee satisfaction survey?
Yeah.
How much time? How many times in a year? Every 6 months. So you comparing. So what are the questions normally asked?
You're asking it like which even when you're I mean my price me and my wife was in Dubai, so they were asking how's your satisfaction about the Asia performance, about your cafeteria performance, and then your management performance. They will not tell this kind of feedback will not go to the my management. They will go to the either Asia or my upper management because they will let them know exactly how we satisfy with our organization.
So they are not asking you exactly sometime directly, are you satisfied or not? They will ask you indirectly into different things. Are you satisfied with the employee? Are you satisfied with the organization? Do you understand what are the organizational goals? They may ask you also. Are you sure has the employee, the manager is following the core values? Now the question is how you identify the core values that you have, how you show the core values, right? This come from the survey, correct? So they are asking each and every employee, does your manager show the core values of the company? Core value of the company is to be honest, to be respectful. But if the general perception of the manager is not following the core values, then means the company will know that he is not following our core values. Right? If the core values are important, for hotels is a very important thing. For other industry may not be the values.
Yeah.
But in hospitality industry, the managers, even the employee, everybody has to follow their core values. Otherwise, you are not serving your customer in the way that you should be. Correct? You normally have a training on the customer service. Correct? So the customer service training is also have an effect. So how you are going to how you are going to understand if the training is done well, or the employee is able to understand your trainings. Same way, how many defects you have, correct? How much time the employee is being mentioned as, sometimes instead of negative, sometimes you want to see positive.
Yeah.
how many times this person is mentioned in the grade feedbacks. So means that person is able to retain a lot. The other persons may not be. So that way they highlight, okay, this person is the highlight of the company. But if it's only one person which is mentioned as an employee of the year all the time or as a customer satisfaction survey, means that only that person is great. The other people are not. Means that the training of other people is not effective. Because sometimes the peoples are passionate. Some people are very, very highly passionate, highly motivated. So they are tend to do a very good service. But the others are not. Right? So means that the training that you are providing is not effective. It shows an indication. Because if only one person is there, then it's a problem. But if it's every person, everybody a different person, or because they work in different shifts, right? So it means that the general training is okay. Means if you have many employees. So this is how you can dissect the information which you are getting from the surveys or the performance indicators. It's not that the performance indicators shows different things. Okay, so these are the performance measures. So I have different performance measures. Let me show you a performance measure of the, okay, sample KPIs for hotel.